so the spin. So that was like Leonhard Euler is like the most well, definitely from Switzerland, the most famous mathematician, right? And he wrote the book Math for Women. It was not well received, but like he tried, right? So he had no success at all. I don't think like no woman ever bought or read the book, sadly. But they have a copy in the Bibliothek in Einsiedlen, right? So that's why I know the Euler wrote the book Math for Women. So he tried to make like accessible examples, right? And so one of them is kind of with this cube, this blue fascial massage ball, which I use to juggle and so on, right? So initially I had 3 objects, and I'm able to juggle 3, and it's more interesting with like and I can recommend that like nothing else. So if you kind of have to study, that's something I should have mentioned. So I think the best way to make breaks is that if you are not yet is to juggle actually, or to learn to juggle. Like you do something entirely different, and so you can switch off, which is like I don't have another method, because the problem is if you in the break still continue thinking too much about what you actually want to do as a task, you kind of don't refresh, right? So can you juggle?
Can you again clear about chuckle?
Also, like like a clown in the circus, like juggle 3 objects. Jonglieren. So like well like what is like juggling things? Like you like do you understand now?
Wait a moment.
So in German it's jonglieren.
Chuckling. Why? Can you repeat
Why
why
you why,
chuckling?
like even for the best break if you like study. So like if I had the proper mindset, but sometimes I did that, is to juggle in the breaks, because you completely refresh the so and there is this if you want to learn to juggle with more than 4 or 5 balls, you kind of have something similar as in like physics, this concept of a hole. You juggle a hole instead of a charge, right? But this is the concept. So this is just because I have this much attached to like because of the spin, and this was exactly how they came up with that, right? So you look at an object like, I mean, it's as well for like how you come up with like an a form of integration. So like that you want to know what is the area of like half a sphere, stuff like that, right? Or what I mean, what like the like because those so I mentioned this lowest row is like a roulette. 36, 1 is kind of the start of it, right? That is different, but otherwise they are all the same. Now you have in the next row, so it's not static. So because like a sphere, so it's kind of on top. You have 1, then the next row 6, 12. um, then so this is not how you, but this kind of approximation of like the area of the sphere, right? It's like it continues like that. So plus 6, 18, 24, and then because you are at the lower end of so there it's more like this kind of object goes like 27, 30, 33, 36. And then you are like if you wanted to like it's Petra made on Sunday her own bread. So like if you wanted to know you need to know the function of kind of but like this is what would be like if you read that book of Euler, those would be reasons why you would go study math, right?
Mhm.
So it's just that there the pixels are kind of broken as well. So like I remember that I noticed that when I had nothing else to do in the mental hospital than to look at this ball, right? And
Mhm.
that's how they came up with like, so there are the Euler Winkel. So that's still how you describe such an object like rolling on the floor. And
Mhm.
it describes the same. So you can use the Euler Winkel for an like the problem is the spin is like in a different, well, here, like if I roll this blue ball, like there is always gravity that kind of rules for the most part the path. So it's the strongest force after you through the object, right? But when it comes to like a particle, like an electron with a spin, so the electron has a charge that is really important for like this like in Festkörperphysik, so like those holes, right? So you can kind of transport charges like with holes, but like the so that is a force that matters, the charge, right? And but like the spin is, it's kind of in a different dimension. It's like that, like the gravity is this small because the mass of an electron is basically so that doesn't matter at all how they spin, right? Those
Mhm.
smaller, yeah. So but Euler was part of the reason that you could apply how you look at the such an object that it works for like an electron as well, right? Because the
Mhm.
electron is not even properly like there that starts, right? So you like I mean a better image of an electron is more like a cloud, so like a probability cloud where it is so because it's small enough that it has this like wave and particle character, right?
Mhm.
And it's just so like I was reminded of that I continued in 2024 with my, so I measured time point is 3 times a day, just because like I kind of finished in 2021 after, so like I set it up, so after I hit 42, that was kind of over. And then I kind of uh, kind of stopped. But in 2024, I did that every day, right? So in 2021, it was more like inconsistent, and it was more like 2 months where I did that every day. And so in 2024, I tried again, but I didn't really see much besides that. Gandhi was kind of underlined with that method twice, but like for the most part, I defined new. I needed to define new because it was a different setup, so the range was different. And another thing is that I saw Einstein is mentioned kind of several times. Once it's even the, I think, assistant that is mentioned, which came up with the fridge as we know it. So it's just that's how I defined such numbers, right? Some of them have like 300 is because there is this movie 300, so that is a streamer that shows that movie as an intro, right? Sparta. So Sparta is 300. So that's like
Yeah, that was an amazing movie. I saw it.
so that's one of like obvious connections, right? So if you saw that movie, why not define it like that? But I have other definitions like 213 is completely random. So I wanted some that so there I really picked a number um randomly from like and defined that as Nemo lock in this case, right? And so it's my so my definition. Some of them are kind of obvious. There is like a story behind it. Like 23 is the favorite number of this Pater Aaron, and because he is not really well, sometimes he is not on time and so on. This is kind of 23 is kind of a form of bad luck as well. So like this Unzuverlässigkeit, right? So, but this is uh, well, this is kind of all, but I it was again that like all of them kind of now like my goal to I didn't mention that. So like this is this author. So like I changed my name as especially when it comes to like my uh like rapper attempts. So this X project, so those 7 pages were kind of ideas for a rap because the brother of so another son, the other son of my cello teacher, he is kind of well in Einsiedeln. He probably produced the most watched rap about Einsiedeln. So maybe I should share that again. But it's like some images and well, he is so. But like there, I was looking into should I start rapping, right? And so then, like Eminem, you take notes like for your well rap battles that you have the content present, basically, right?
Mhm.
And so there, this 693, I already discussed. So like in 2019, I defined that already. But just like the greeting, not like the other things attached to it. That happened later. And so for when it comes to kind of like the task. So I, as well, I'm kind of claiming that I'm, or like in my like visualization of this kingdom of Allah. Like it's about that I'm kind of the lead data scientist again. So I will come back together with like Walter Gehring and so on, right? And uh, this is kind of my calling, but it's not always like it's like in Emil und die Detektive. So the most important is like that they have someone always picking up the phone, and this is the real annoying job, like data science is for the most part as well. So I expect the reward for doing this, right? But I'm aware that most would not be able to do so. So that's another issue. Like if you are not familiar with like, well, you like data science can really help you understand all important languages nowadays, right? But
Yeah,
you
it
kind of
seems to
need
me
you
because
kind of
of
need
you.
a solid background, otherwise you will not do much with it. But it's not that
Yeah.
important that you kind of know like biology by like those names by heart. So it's more that about understanding what are like the biggest interactions or stuff like that, right? So but yeah, so that's, I mean, that's my, well, the problem is that like so I'm not able, like that's maybe it's an advantage, because like in Swiss German I'm able to do that in like 5 minutes, right? But in English I'm not able. So I'm probably not talking slower, but it's much slower when I try to explain something in English, and maybe this is for the better. So I was really compared to this Jesse Eisenberg in like the Facebook movie. He is playing Zuckerberg. Um, this kind of like awkward. So I'm just in Swiss German. I'm just too fast for all of them, right? If I really start, so that it's not always helpful. So, yeah. And like this actor is kind of the same. So he is like that uh, in an interview. He's basically just playing how he always is, right? So like, yeah. But I mean, yeah. So like another thing, did you like check out one of like the most successful author on Royal Road is, I think, it's he who fights with monsters. So Shirtaloon is the name of also the handle of this author, and he made like more than 10 grand a month just by the clicks this got, right? And now this is an audiobook as well and so on. Like so that's kind of the best. But I actually don't like this story. So I quit. I didn't even finish the first book. But so like this is another kind of, it's just something we like, right? That you start from nothing and you kind of build up this kind of empire, right?
Mhm.
So, and I mean there, so that, yeah. But like when I think about how it would be, so do you know Westworld and the Peripheral, the TV series?
Again, please.
Westworld, it's the same team, and the Peripheral. So I
Uh,
think if
yeah.
you don't know about that, I would recommend to like watch that, because again, it's just like a form of like science fiction fantasy. It helps to visualize what I'm kind of talking about. But it's the
Yeah.
same as like it's always this kind of fantasy that you which is new, which is kind of a new form of fantasy, that you kind of find a way to go in like a coffin, and then like this Ready Player One, right? And then the virtual reality kind of takes over. And luckily, we are not close to that. But those books,
Mhm.
they are like about that, right? And then in this world, you can have all unfairness and old gods again, and so um, it's not that. I think um, I hope that will never be something we actually do, but it's
Mhm.
not that. So like the stupidest thing you can do is like so some with a terminal illness, wealthy people, they froze themselves and sent kind of capsule so that they will return in the year 7777. So now we have,
Mhm.
according to the Jewish calendar, the year 5000 something. So in the hopes that then civilization will be able to kind of reanimate them, because there was this much like progress, right? And
Mhm.
maybe cure the illness. Um, and I mean, why would like this is the most like this is the like if you would be able to do that. So like, how can you be this stupid? And this would be the last mind, such a coward, right? Instead of doing something with their money, they just like This is the last soul you would want to recover, right? So just because
Mhm.
of what they did, right? So that's
Mhm.
like how like this kind of like that. It's the same as like what Trump is planning to do, like build a bunker for himself and not care about the rest. Like it's the exact same issue, right? And there is no
Mhm.
point in that, just to show. Yeah, but like so now I got distracted. But like so if I had to um so that's why I kind of collect those assets, because I know in the afterlife I will be the one that has to do this data science, produce this game, because no one else was or will be up to that task, right? And this is
Mhm.
the talent. My family, they don't get it. It's not this obvious. So like my brothers, when it comes to like composing, arranging stuff. My youngest sibling is much better, and he did quite a bit of that, right? So
Mhm.
he is able to play kind of ukulele. He learned that overnight, and he is able to like improvise, right? He on the double bass, also Kontrabass, right? But
Mhm.
my talent is something like I guess Bach was able to improvise five äh, fünfstimmige Fugen, right? And
Mhm.
I'm kind of able to not lose track of those. So when I code or when I plan when I design something like that, I I don't know how that is for others. I don't really lose track of the bigger important things. The problem is more that my Spannungsbogen is too big, and so it gets kind of lost because of that. But with data science, you don't have this issue. Like I have those notes, and so I will finish. And I started because with so I changed my name that it works with the word value symmetry and my birthday. So I mentioned that several times, and so that it is 5885, right? So Urs has the word value 58 already. And like again, I would congratulate my mother, but she didn't think that through, of course, right? So it's just random that works out. And so, but like there are other like so like there was yesterday about how they are still dealing with like that they burned witches in so there was a witch, a real bad case of how they tortured this witch, and there were a lot of men that kind of told she was like she bewitched them for like sex and so on, but it was the other way around. So they kind of abused her, but they were convicted for that as well. So it was like, and still because they blamed her, at the end she was tortured and she didn't even know what a witch is, but they have that in written form. At the end she asked what she should tell them that they finally kill her, basically, right? So they have that as a testimony. That was in 16, so like 20 years before Bach was born, 1658, and Bach was 300 years before me, 1685, right? So yeah, but well, that's just I mean, the worst curse. So that's something another. So like this visualization. So like a composer on the level of Smetana. It is not a problem if he kind of goes deaf, because you have like I do have that as well. So I have like that works in a dream and all the time, right? So I can imagine that, and not just imagine. So like in Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, so the Palantiri, you cannot transmit sound, and I think this is like by but you can transmit like everything else. So it's kind of like it can do that if you properly and it's not even that difficult to get there, right? But it works the best if you start early, like any other language, right? So if like but the problem is that if you just go to like, even if you would study music, it is not a given that you pick that up. It's kind of something, I don't know, like, but all like I would bet a lot, all the composers, so like Mozart, all of them, so they were able to like compose in their head, but then you have to write it down like an idea, right? So that you don't like, forget it. But like, of course, they are all able to like kind of visualize how the so the beginning of or like the Moldau, or if you look at the scores, right? So you don't need to hear that at this, So, but for many, this is unimaginable. That this is like that's not the tricky part, right? The tricky part is to actually compose a Moldau. So that's not the same. That needs a lot of work, right? And that's not something I mean, they invested over generations for something like that, right? And back then you kind of had to bet on this. There is nothing similar nowadays, right? It's just maybe the richest families like Rothschild and Wellenberg and so on. There it's still, but I mean it's not, yeah. But like so, and I don't think you need the methods Mozart's father used, but you kind of need the right mindset early on, right? And that's not really the issue. But I don't see that much of a necessity. It's the same for research. It's not. I don't think it's needed that we force again this kind of fight for the first atomic bomb. So they were researching under kind of like with the pistol on their head, right? Or like kind of the families kidnapped because it was such a race. And this is not healthy, and we don't need to repeat that. We would need to like give this a purpose that we find better applications of what they figured out. It's the same in music as well. So like, yeah, but I don't know. Like this is and so I want to finish with this so that I don't miss the part about paintings, right? So my changed name. So in Swiss German, this is the most famous comedian. So ein echter Pfannkuchler. So this is Pfannkuch. I think that is a name you might know as well. So like Picasso, Pfannkuch is like some of the
Picasso.
Picasso. Like there I had another story with this pigeon. No one in my class, myself included, knew that it is actually a sketch by
The
Picasso.
Picasso is a different one, or Pablo Picasso?
Yes, Pablo Picasso. So the one of the most decent, like when it comes to the value of
Artist.
his paintings, right? So, and Van Gogh is like another one of like the most famous
But I
paintings.
don't get his art, but I try to capture as much as possible on my mind. Yeah.
Well, I don't get um Picasso. I did get because, but um but Van Gogh less so. But like you would
I saw he's one of he a interviewer give him a time, and he complete a art within that time. I saw a live video. Yeah.
Van Gogh, no, Van Gogh was is dead for a while. That was like um absinthe. So he was one of the absinthe artists, right?
Mhm.
But like some of his later paintings that have the most value, they are like they look like children a mess a child would be able to do it. Like I don't know. So it's not that I get this language. It's just so what I do get is so Asterix and Lucky Luke. Do you know that's the French? So Uderzo and Goscinny. So those are when it comes to comics the like especially when it comes to I mean maybe the Batman universe is like more spread, but when it comes to the 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 sketches, they are by far the best. So do you know like Asterix and Obelix or Lucky Luke?
No.
No. Okay. So that is That I didn't expect. So that's I would argue that's even more important than, like, even if you know the Quran, then you know most what is in the Bible. So I would recommend that you first read Asterix or Lucky Luke. Yeah. So it was just when he died. I don't even remember if it was Uderzo or Goscinny. So they did, like, they did most of the books, especially the best ones, together. So like, um, he just said he wants to continue, like he wants a way in the afterlife to continue, so that he can continue to, like, bring like these to, like, those stories to life, right? So that was his last um, message, right? And
Mhm.
so when it comes to this again, so, like, those eternal beasts. So what does this? So like Bach signaled eternal beasts. That's because the other message he made in bars is 388. So that stands for capital B's, right? So now I don't understand. Are you saying something, or is this the background?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. In the
No,
right,
no, no, no
my
issue. So
screen.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, then it's fine. So it's just
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
no.
Yeah.
I was just yeah. So, but, like, I mean, the toughest from what I so if I would need to, like, paint, the toughest when it comes to coloring is, like, as I explained, with this blue cube roulette ball. I'm quite familiar with how you kind of the shape of an object, and so that's
Mm.
not that tricky for me to code, I guess. But
Mm.
like the color of, well, haut, so skin color, or the color of a breast, that is quite tricky, as I understand it. And it was probably even more tricky. So if it's not the digital picture, this is some of the toughest that you. So this kind of oil painting, that that, that, like, because if you just copy it, then
Mm.
it looks silly. So that's like, so like, um uh like like the Egyptians always made those they are just one perspective, right? So if there is a painting of Cleopatra, it's just kind of slice from the side, right? They didn't dare to go into perspective drawing, right?
Mhm.
So it's about that, because if you are in a universe where the Gödel time machine has to work, you don't have this uh, well, round side continuum given as you have it here. So it's not like you have to describe those. You have to describe that properly as well. Otherwise, it's not like I'm not saying the idea is that you have to copy everything. So I don't want
Mhm.
in the afterlife um, kind of pain, or something like that, right? Or I want
Mhm.
a way to get away from it in a in a meaning. So it's not like because, yeah, but, like, I mean, the best example I think I have is still this animation we made of Brüder Löwenherz. So that I mentioned already, right? So, but it's like I think there is a part of this kind of art. This is something my grandfather on the side of my father, which I, for the most part, I have not a high opinion, but he was very familiar with like paintings at like all like the churches and so on. And so this kind of history, right? This kind of art, right? And I guess there are kind of people that deserve an afterlife as well. I think it's much better. So this is not something that works for me with Bush. So Bush was George W. Bush was, in my opinion, one of the worst presidents ever. But there the polling numbers were the highest. So when he yeah, but like it was, yeah, but like he that doesn't work for me. So like he is now in his older years doing paintings as well. But if you, instead of like creating those wars and conflicts, just paint something. That's something I think is a very important language as well, right? So, I mean, not everyone is able to do that with music. So I think for most, paintings are more accessible. And I guess if you want to paint at the level of Leonardo da Vinci, then it is about as tricky as composing like Smetana did, right? And this is not really something you can plan. It's just, I guess, with the painting, it's more like understandable of like what effort it is, because we can, like, if you were able to draw like Uderzo Goscinny, you, for the most part, you can do that with Bleistift. What is a Bleistift in English? So like just the not even a pen, right? Just with the one you can remove easily. What is a Bleistift? I need to look this up quickly. Bleistift. Pencil. Aha. Yeah. Yeah. So the one without yeah, but like so you can try yourself, and it's, for example, to draw a horse or something. You can learn that to a certain extent, but it's not that simple, right? It's not that simple to draw a horse that looks like or like this pigeon, Picasso, so that it kind of looks alive. It's not that simple to do that, right? And like it's much easier to test, because especially this pigeon was just a pencil drawing, so a sketch, right? No colors. And you could do that if you were Picasso, just like in a, I don't know, if like one lesson is like that happened, we probably went to watch the World Cup or something. Like even if like Picasso probably would have been able to do that in one lesson, but it needs so much preparation, and that is probably the same for if you want to compose on that level, but there it's just not as obvious. So I guess, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, but like that's so it's just that. Nah, I mean, I mean, if this was a situation where there were real questions, I would be able to like explain that with those objects, and I thought that through that lecture. But this is actually something they did in physics classes, right? So we even had the experiment that you um, like filmed how the glass explodes just by the right frequency, so like sound, right? So you
Hmm.
can do the same to a bridge, to basically most buildings. It if you kind of stimulate the eigenresonance frequency, it will come to this kind of um, catastrophe, right? And so that looks just amazing how the glass. So the moment it is like it bubbles into this, yeah. So that is something we saw, but like you find the same somewhere on YouTube now, I guess, right?
Hmm. Uh, I want to talk something about um, if you want actually the female working related issues that we talked about yesterday, why it didn't go that much up for a female, a good space, and something more on it. um, and another thing is, maybe you already know if you search on Google or YouTube Islamic videos. um, uh, in the 7th century, and the world operated on a different system requirements than it does today. Um, in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, at that time, in the Muhammad's time, um, that time, even in Islam, they said the woman's age, actually, that doesn't mean a number. It actually a mental state, all about a mental state, how she is able to handle her family or husband, and some good knowledge about religion, so that she can operate around her. Okay. And that likely, in my area, 18 is the lowest age to get married for women, and boy is 21. But people don't follow most of the time. They always, some people maintain it, some people wait more than that, and some people do like 14, 13, 15 age. Here, law is not strict. You can manipulate with money or power, and everything. If I see this, then nowadays, if you marry lately, uh, everyone facing the issue with their child, giving birth and everything. But I can assure you that, I people always talked, about Islam, the issue is they get married early. There was lots of problem like dead birth or danger of health of the woman mother, but actually nowadays the modern technology like doctor improved, everything is improved nowadays. If I look, the main issue is if they marry lately and give birth lately, they are all, most of them are facing issue. But who they married early, like 13, 14, a woman is, trust me, I live in village. I have lots of poor women. They are good and they're birth their child in a normal way, not seizure, not any other thing. They're completely fine. They're strong, and they're good. And our sisters are talking about them. They are very good. Why we have issue? My sister is already in India to get help to and she wants to. He has a issue about pregnancy, and her is like 34. She is older than me, and most of the wealthy families, female, they do scissors, but the poor women and young women, they are doing everything well. And for modern treatment, no one actually died in for these things that they claimed earlier about this. And in that context, I want to add that in Europe, Asia, and Middle East, marriage was based on physical maturity, not a legal number. That was same for Christian laws and pagans. I wrote something that was you seems that that was actually that was written. That's why if I say, you feel that it's good. The Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, actually Muhammad, uh, enemies in Mecca were looking for any reason to attack his character. Yet they never criticized this marriage, because in their logic it was perfectly normal. So and another thing I can add, because we need to see from a different angle too. Um, uh, uh, this wasn't just a marriage, it was a strategic alliance between two of the most important figures in history, like Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. He was a sahaba means the most important peoples around Muhammad. They always help. After Muhammad, they were the valuable person in Islamic history. Some people who can live with Muhammad and follows him, the best people. One of them is Abu Bakr. Actually, he was the Prophet's closest friend and most trusted data source, and he was too old than Muhammad. And for the first time, when Muhammad, after a long spiritual journey, when he tried to spread Islam, the first person, Abu Bakr, is accepted Muhammad, and wants to follow according Islam blindly. That time, because he knows how about Muhammad, how he is, and Aisha was the daughter of Abu Bakr. You understand that? Aisha was the
Yeah.
daughter of
So
Abu Bakr.
I knew that part. Uh, I think roughly. I wouldn't know the names and so on, but like yes, that I know, and it is something that is kind of um, well
Uh, uh,
in wrong context. Like this is something sadly they sometimes like kind of show him kind of in a pedophile context in the Western world, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So, like,
yeah. That's why
yes, I know.
everything I want to add so that it can clear to you. Like Aisha radallahu anhu, we say radallahu anhu as objectives. Grew up in the house of the most educated man in Arabia. Like she inherited her father's sharp memory and analytical mind. So the union wasn't about the wedding, it was about ensuring that the prophet's private wisdom was captured by someone with the highest processing power. And then um, uh, she was, after Muhammad's death, she was the main who teach the law, even for the men, even for the men. He solves the issue after him, according Muhammad's view. He teaches, um, so uh, uh, Aisha radhiyallahu anha become the primary source of law and medicine for the entire community for the time. Um, she famous corrected the most powerful male generations and scholars when they made mistakes in logic. Um, Actually, Islam didn't need a batch. According me, Islam didn't need a batch to fight for inclusion later. It started with Aisha radhiyallahu anha at the very top of the intellectual hierarchy. That's all actually. If you look the what I cover, there's many I can add, but the core thing, if you notice, he married a woman that his best friend, not only best friend, the Abu Bakr was much older than Muhammad, and he willingly he was happy to give her daughter to Muhammad the time. And Abu Bakr was a very intelligent person, and everything. If you notice that, that was beautiful. Even Aisha was the leader for some regions. So that means women are free, but the issue, the society rearranged in a different way. Like the main issue, in a Muslim Islamic way, the main issue for women to publicly work is the hijab. The hijab means the issue not to work. The woman can work if she wants. She can work a lot. There's no bindings. Like I have a company, I want to hire men and women too. But in if I want to run in Islamic way, I need to ensure that women must be in hijab. In Baba, please. So my child came here and he listened to me. And then when I a man can work perfectly. The thing he has to maintain, the hijab for men is actually for the belly to knee. বাবা তুমি একটু বাসায় যাবে এখন, যাও, আমি একটু কথা বলছি, যাও। Sorry, the belly to knees. This is, you have to cover, must. In official situation, you have to go dressed in well. But woman, uh, a office for work. If a woman is attractive to see, that's a problem for work. That's why women need to cover up properly. So, which is interested to men, that is actually needs to be covered in
Yes,
office.
so there I already answered. In my opinion, you are just all like, well, it's part of the game. So why would you need to cover it? So it's actually
Yeah, yeah,
lacking.
yeah.
So this custom, that's what I probably didn't say the last time. So like, it's kind of worse the other way around. So we would need
Mhm.
to put a veil on those like 1,000 most attractive men then as well, right? So it's like doesn't make sense that custom. It's just because like it's actually a shortcoming on the males, right?
Yeah, both like if you separate, they're in two rooms, like they can work in anything. That's no issue with it. But the problem is, who thinks in a Islamic way, when they're very good at it, they sometimes follow their different type of passions, like not always the money, and they are not that
Yeah.
much
So
of
that's
risk in the
again the
time. Yeah.
answer is um, yeah, that's the problem
So then the problem is
that
they can control.
the
Yeah.
males are not psychologically developed enough. So that's definitely not a solution you want for eternity, right? So, but like it's, I mean, I know the reality is different. So the other, like the other, so in an idea in an ideal world,
Uh,
right? So like when we go back to this idea that we have this like planetoid where we can like a game where we can kind of fix the box we have, right? So you could see Islam or Christianity as a as a code, and now you want to fix the biggest box, right? And so like it might be that the strategy that women have to put on a veil is like better than uh, if you don't, or it was in the past. But this is like I would never want that a society like that, right? When you saw that there is well, this is just part of like this is just part of the game, and there I don't see, but there are others like you would need to look, and I don't like how you do it, right? So it's a lot of that you kind of are stuck. So many around here are stuck as well. So in so Roman times or like Sparta want to be one of those real men, 300. By the way, back then they were this close because they had male relations, right? And it's what was not all about it was not all about sex, but that as well. So the teacher, like if they had this proper student teacher relation, then there was that part of it as well. But like they had this of a bond that they kind of had their back, right? So but yeah, so but like so it's not all, but like so many are just they fantasize about how they would have been as a gladiator in the Colosseum, and they even forget about the Song of Songs is still like the real goal is still to find this mate for most, right? And
right.
and that, like if you lose that, then like why did Caesar conquer? Like it was because of Cleopatra for a big part as well, right? And so if you lose that goal, yeah, but like so that's the problem. So what does it help? I mean, that was 500 years later. We wouldn't it wouldn't work if we would have another million Mohammeds that would conquer like it's just that's another reality. It just doesn't work. What does it help to kind of play that through again? I mean, that's something you maybe can do in the afterlife, right? So yeah, but another fact is that yes, the best age biologically, also, so for a woman to be pregnant is but like up to 2025, and that's another. This is just not in our society. This is just not how it is. Like you would need to find a way that you kind of decide to have a family and maybe not marry. Maybe we would need another system. So this part with children and marriage is another, like, it doesn't make sense. So this is one of the worst curses, I guess, this Erbtantenfluch. So that we were always this dependent on like our lineage, our parents, so for the upbringing. Like the best would be, and there I would argue sadly, like Putin is doing kind of the same. Like he is kind of enforcing, because they don't have enough children, that women have to kind of be pregnant, right? And that is something Nazi Germany did as well. And there they got the point. It's obvious, like you have the healthiest offspring when they have a child before 25, right? And so you would need a system for like, but then maybe if you decide you want a family, but that would be for both, right? Then and it's not like another like another thing they wanted. They wanted this blonde Irish like to prevail, right? So that doesn't work. Like it's not that dependent. So the like the selection. But they were like it's much more about but there the age is a factor. And so like you would need to kind for the child, it doesn't really matter that much if there is a mother around. It's much more important that someone is around, right? So it would be better to grow up in a bigger family than it is common in the Western world, for example. It would just be better. So like ever grandparents and other children so that's just something it is not working, but it's not that like it does like ever. I don't know, but I mean one of the highest IQ people ever, and well, I shared that. So he committed suicide at some point. Had similar ideas. It should not depend on that, right? So we should grow up as humanity. It should not depend that much on past and what you inherit and so on, right? But it does, and it's about as hopeless to change that around here as it is probably to change. So like the worst you can do is what Afghanistan is doing, that you like it was for my grandmother. You just don't continue school because you are a woman after elementary school, or even so like that's the worst you can do. It will lead to that women are basically enslaved in their thoughts, especially, right? But we would need to change that. So you would need to decide like at the end of school, there would need to be a big part about that. So if you want to become a mother, it makes sense to decide that. And you could, if you had a better system, like you could do that. I mean, this is something the Quran kind of discusses more logically, I guess, than the Bible. Like in the Bible, there is a lot of stories about the angels and how like Ezekiel is like a fallen angel and all that stuff, right? But like as I understand from the Quran, an angel is basically just so you don't want to be replaced by an angel. So it's kind of um, what can just be replaced by an angel. So this is why we call like children, or they called in the past children that didn't get baptized, so died a couple days in, right? Engelskinder. So that's kind of so an angel is like beautiful and more like a robot without soul. And if you can be replaced by an angel, that's not a good sign, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
In
right.
that
And
regard.
that's not the purpose here. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would go. It's not that angels are especially female. That is again for both sides, right? And so
Yeah.
I guess like why like when you look like if you would ask this problem to like an AI that doesn't have this attachment, and I think the Bible does a good job to point out this kind of illness of Maria, so the mother.
Mhm.
Um, this
Mhm.
attachment. So she doesn't get it. She suffers. It's what it is. But they leave this open question: what do you do with this mother? And that is not discussed in the Quran. So that is one of the strongest, I guess, parts of the Bible from the, also how they like the Matthäus Passion as well, like how this is for the mother. So like she doesn't understand it. It's just that's the same. That's how most mothers would be nowadays as well. Right? She doesn't understand where Jesus is coming from. She doesn't get, and that shouldn't be the goal. That nowadays, kind of a modern woman should kind of grow up, because otherwise you are basically stuck in this role as a, well, they don't get it. They suffer. They have headaches, and the problem is my experience with many women I encountered on my path. It's still the same. They didn't change that much in 2,000 years, and
Mhm.
that's, I guess, where I would see the. That's where I would see the jihad. That's what we should fight for. That would
Definitely.
change a lot, right? But it's
And
not. Yeah.
I want to add that like when I said hijab, actually we had the men, we had some duties like the thinking, the way we should think. It also solves the issue mainly. Then their parts they do it. Our parts we should not. The Muhammad's time nowadays it's not happening in most of the places. Like in the Muhammad's time, the women and men prayed at the same mosque without any boundaries, anything. Uh, the all children nowadays in mosque, like our mosque, if go the children and they're how to say that, if they are running or doing different things that annoy the adults, they are too disturbed and they don't like to child have here. But at that time the child and everything is available in a mosque, and the women men in the main time prayer time, they are available there because that their intention and their main purpose was clear. And the kid, what was the kid, when a kid were crying too much, the Muhammad was the main imam, he recites the Quran. So when he hears the crying of child, he understands that, and he tries to short the recites, so that it's too early he can finish the prayer, so that the mother can take care of child. And everything was perfectly fine, cause the children will learn from the adults, the everything, the how the things, how the place. This is not, I say it for Islam. Actually everything, everything, um, every religion, if it follows its core, then it will grow beautiful things. um,
No,
if
I
you.
don't think this is needed. Like, this is obvious, and like, if you would look at the question without knowing how it was in Mohammed's time, you would
Mhm,
come up with this idea. And so, like, we
mhm,
have the same problem. Like in in the Bible, you have directly that, the idea of the church. There is
mhm,
stuff about that, that there are female priests, for example.
mhm,
The Catholic
mhm,
Church, which kind of took over, doesn't know that, right? So
mhm,
you have no, you have no way to change that. So I remember before the new pope, something of the last like attempt was that there was like another concile, so that all bishops kind of come together, and like the hope was that they would discuss this, right? That you kind of um, change those rules, like in Brazil, where there is a lot of like kind of the Catholic Church is strong, but it would change so much if you would allow female priests, right? And
mhm,
in the end, they didn't discuss it, and that was kind of, I guess, it turned out one of the last things the former pope said. So, like, maybe you have um, fe- uh, also the femininity in the church, because chiesa, or whatever it is in Italian, is a female word. So church is a female word. But he said that,
mhm.
like, sarcastically, like, it's this hopeless,
Mhm.
right, to discuss
Yeah.
it with the bishops. And like, but then
Mhm.
you kind of try to argue with like what Mohammed said or what is written in the Bible. But the, the truth is, you don't need all that. It's this often
Yeah.
Auswuchs, right? If you would look at the problem, and it should
Yeah.
be the main problem, how do we raise our children? Like, if
Mhm.
it's that problem and you ask ChatGPT, yes, the biological clock matters. So it is a fact for a male in that regard. It kind of starts to get worse with around 40. So from that, right, just the quality of
Mhm.
the offspring. It is just a fact. So like, why don't we find a solution based on that, because they didn't know that as we do um back then. So it has to do that those telomere, so that is every time a cell doubles, um like even we would need change. We would need. So that's bad news for like the Epstein genome project. So it has to do with how often a cell doubles, right? And
Mhm.
at some point, those telomere don't work no longer. So and it's a fact, and we understand that on a level that is something like the DNA was not something my doctor grandfather learned in his studies, right? So that we make
Mhm.
progress. So why don't we include that information? So yes, you would select that. I don't know, that if you want to do like full time research then it is probably the same for a woman and like then it's something like you go, I don't know, 8 years, something like in a kind of. There is no point in having a family. That doesn't mean that you cannot have a partner and sex and everything, but it's probably not the best idea if you will not have time for a family, right?
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that
Y-
you shouldn't have kids, but it should be that if you are like determined to do this kind of career, that you study after the gymnasium, and I guess way too many are studying nowadays because they kind of don't know what to do, right? And
Mhm.
we need less and less of that because this is the part that AI can replace, right?
Yeah,
Um,
sometimes I feel that when I was bachelor, that was good.
I, I mean, I mean, uh, but like when it just comes to when it just comes to which like off, so it doesn't make sense that you uh, like for like if you look at like the project of humanity, like it wouldn't make
Mhm.
sense that those like clever women don't have children. So we need this genome as well. So we would need
Mhm.
to find a way to, because they are two kind of important. But this is already, this is just again, the average soul doesn't want to think about those issues. For them, it's blasphemy to think that through, right? And so I don't know that, like my mother, she wants to tell herself that she kind of loves her children this much that she just knows what they need. It doesn't work like
Mhm.
that. It never did. But that's where most mothers are coming from. And so I don't know. It's like again, those are it's another thing. So the book of Romano, like this topic of uh, like how he became a pedophile, for example. You
Mhm.
would need to discuss this as well because, like, I'm so if I would just uh, would be able to kind of visualize my dream woman. It
Mhm.
depends on the situation. So, but it's just we have sadly with all the whatever Nintendo as well, you have kind of this young princess or like in a vampire series, there it is there's still this attachment to like that the virgin carries I don't know different kind of blood and so on. Well, I think it's just like you probably wouldn't mind um, in this fantasy that the male part is like bitten with 40 years or yeah somewhere there, right? And the woman is probably um, 17 or 14, I don't know. So that's just like ever like the yeah. But I mean it's like this is another fact. So
Mhm.
but it leads to those there is this series on TikTok with like KI slop where they just change some faces of fruits, right? And it's very sexistic, but it has a lot of success because it's this simple to make. It's kind of like the um, well, propaganda. It's efficient, right? Those Lego movies by Iran, right?
Mhm.
I mean, it's the same kind of South Park, kind of does the same, right? So it's yeah, and it's it just shows that like
I want to know. I want to know your family planning. How do you think about it? May I know?
I mean, like I had a lot of those kind of like ideas. Um,
Uh,
so that I just worked for like until 25. So that is all sadly not very useful. And then
mhm,
when I met Kay again with so in 2016, um,
mhm,
I never thought that would be a thing for me. But a lot
mhm,
of my and there it started like basically most like a psychosis often starts with that you kind of has to do with like well another unfulfilled like love. It's very often something like that, right? And
mhm,
there my whole like but it had to do maybe that my kind of the only girlfriend I had, right? She talked about that as well. That for her it was kind of like a vision, this like that you kind of plan a family, right? And
mhm,
up to that point, I didn't have that. So it's like I don't remember. I mean I mentioned something in the book. So like the first time I was like aroused because this game where you kind of well the point of the game is that you immobilize like a girl how you like this 1, 2, 3 Bulldog, right? So that was the first time I was aroused because I kind of uh well like you would I don't know rape start the process of raping. So I got aroused because this is the game, right? So you have to kind of immobilize someone like that, right? And so
mhm,
I was aroused with I don't know 8, 9 years, right? But before that, I kind of didn't know about that, and I didn't like books where it was about that until so like for example from um, Hitchcock, right? Drei Fragezeichen. There is not a lot about kind of love of teenagers. So that's why I digged those books and not, but like I guess for a girl at that age, they kind of want that. They want like this teenage, I don't know. So that is definitely different. But what I never imagined was that so then I was like 30 years already that I for the first time actually had this um well it's like for me it's like a kiss. So it's not something
mhm,
I always wanted to and there might be that but like at some point you kind of this is just something you kind of know you would want to do. I don't know. It's yeah, but family. So that was the first time when I was like 30, right? And I think
mhm,
it's different. So that is definitely something that I think many of our girls at the gymnasium they have those fantasies already in like when they are 13, I guess, right?
mhm,
So I don't know if this is just me, right? Or if this is like that doesn't mean that I didn't want so that I wanted I always wanted like when I was like 11 I always kind of wanted a girlfriend or like for but that part with the family that was for me uh well 29 something like that, right?
mhm. And do what you may asking some funny questions?
Yes. So
Uh,
so far it's like I'm not good at answering this because like I kind of like the other issue was that it was this because like for me that script broke apart completely. So like I had to accept that I will not likely have a family, right? And it's not necessarily that so I can definitely see. So my visions are not definitely are not about my own children, but I would like to raise children. We
Yeah,
but
that's nice.
it's not like that's not what happened at all. And I at the time I kind of like this was really like you kind of have to let that dream die, and then there are other things. But what for me was like kind of always the case when you would have needed this kind of woman the most, then you and they like they are never there when you need them, and when you don't need them, then you have like 3, 4, and just it's always like that, or at least for me, it was always like that, right?
Mhm. Um, for you, or my question is, you or any other person like 40 or 45 age, what do you think? He can like a very younger girl, or a same age or elder? Is there any problem? What do you think about that? Like, suppose the younger
I
means
I
15 years.
I don't think it's so like um I think so I definitely um kind of have this issue. I don't think that will ever change that I'm like the most attracted to like the 17-year old, like in this example with the vampires, right? But
Mhm,
love is not that much about that. And so my biggest issue was that I didn't talk about that. So like that I started kind of talking openly just about like something um like we had a lot in like I remember I was part of like such a camp, and
mhm,
so there was the younger brother of Björn of my year, and he was like kind of that was kind of his thing to be like a big mouth to kind of get attention. And he was like openly talking about how delicious it is to drink the Scheidenwässerli. So that is just the juice from the pussy, basically, right? And I
mhm,
would have not been able to, I just didn't have the confidence. I don't think it worked out for him, but that is something I never tried. So, like, of course, you can do that when you are 12, 13 years old, but I didn't dare to do it. And so that's another issue. Like, then you don't, like, then again, you kind of never discuss that, and there would have been some questions I should have asked, right? So I actually it continued like that. So I looked it up as it is mentioned in the book what rape is in the lexicon, and I made a completely wrong definition for myself because I never dared to ask. And you shouldn't like it shouldn't be forced that you directly ask something like that the parents. It should be kind of a given setting where you are allowed to ask those questions, but then it continued like that. So like I didn't really understand that was too early as well, that our teacher was from the other side of the aisle. It's not that he like did something strange, not even remotely, but it's kind of an attention. I just didn't. We just didn't understand that at the age, right? And where he's coming from, and so on. It's yeah, and the problem is that in the gymnasium at Einsiedel at the time, and I don't think that changed, sadly. You would not have gotten a job if you were transparent about that fact as a teacher, right? And so, what should he have done? So it's like, I understand fully, and I think I'm kind of more aware of like this kind of fight he had as well. But like, so for me, I then kind of discovered that in like a forum. So like there are advantages to have like a male relationship, male, because we just know our way better around the most important organ, because we have one, the other side doesn't. So yes, when it comes to like how you get full body orgasm as a male, I would look there. And the fact is that 99%, even more than 99%, I know never had a proper orgasm. All males I know, because it's kind of very tricky to separate that from. So with the woman, you kind of don't talk of an orgasm if this is not kind of part of it. And you would need to do the same exercises, Joseph Pilates and so on, and the briefing. And then you kind of have this tantra universe, and yes, this is a fact. A male can. So there was this publication, even I shared it somewhere on the Royal Road story. So a male can have a squirting orgasm as well, right? So those are just biological facts you don't learn. And I mean, if this is that much better, then the problem is that I mean, this is another fact. I never properly came in any form in the presence of a woman yet. So I'm considered, I guess that's why I'm this. I don't get the reason why they didn't take me in the monastery with like that's something for like Frater, so this rocker religion teacher Bruno Greis, right? That was part of like Hell's Angels rock band and had a lot of like parties and so on. So there I can understand that they argued his soul is not clean no longer, but that is definitely not the case with me. And at some point, like it's not all about that. And but that's why I mention it now on the homepage. So for me, it was real helpful with this Dahar's temple in that regard. And I think that's what we would have needed. We would have needed her at the gymnasium to talk about her job, right? So this is something Nicole Kidman is now like. I don't know why it's this important that you share it on all news, but she wants to become a Sterbebegleiterin, right? So that you accompany people in their death hours, right? And that's something this Tina Doss did as well, right? So it's like this would have been the most interesting kind of presentation when it comes to job opportunities, but like in Switzerland, this is like considered the same as prostitution for the most, and it's something completely entirely different, and we just don't talk about it. And that would have been important at that age, and for that the gymnasium in Einsiedeln was one of the worst gymnasiums for me, because that was just not possible, right? So, and then that leads to like some figure that out on their own, but often it takes longer, and others are like this appalled by just a picture from the biology book that would need psychological, it's like the most important topic that concerns basically everyone. Is just not it's just not taught properly because they themselves are this scared of it, basically, right? Because you would start to question all your life plans and so on. So all parents are completely lacking in that regard around here. So it's not that my parents are an exception. It's terrible. It's this unnecessary, and there the Catholic Church did a lot of work in the wrong direction, of course. Right?
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
my core idea is with this 693, that at least in our dreams for the afterlife, so for something eternal, it's all about that you kind of have three involved, right? It's not
Mhm.
like, that's why we at the wedding we vow bis der Tod uns scheidet, right? So it's a different situation afterwards, right? So
Mhm.
that's the wow. And it's obvious that like if you can like choose between angels, then
Mhm.
both gender, this is just not transparent. Of course you choose, like, that's part of it. Of course you choose the younger and like more, I don't know, Greek god looking. So of course that but that's a different situation in the afterlife. And then it has to be about, if you give this word, that you keep it, right? So it would be one of the most important um, Gelübde, right? And they because again, it's not an easy step, and they are not prepared for that, and this is why you have these many divorces as well. So like it's, yeah. So but it's for this life that you make this wow, and that makes sense, right? And then it's more about the soul. So as I understand it, an angel is more like this peripheral kind of body. What is really important is the soul in the afterlife, and there it's just not enough. Like, it would be much more potential. It would be the much more interesting problem how we shape our souls, right? And
Mhm.
again, Bach does by far the best job at it. Um, from what all I know, I mean, that's why I'm always asking. So if they think I'm missing something, that's what I want, right? But for me, and so um, that's where we should invest, right? And if you don't invest in education, you cannot shape the soul in that regard. It's just then,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But the other
Ah.
thing is kind of given. How we look is to a certain extent given, and it's unhealthy if you want to change that, right? Like, if you accept this is my kind of, you could see it the other way as well. So this is me. This is then it's about making the best out of it. And I think for the ones like Jesus and myself that are kind of shorter than average and brilliant, the strategy is not to maximize the looks. That's just what it is, right? And like it's actually not that important in the long run. And it doesn't matter for like this kind of orgasm. I knew about that before it was published. That another, but like so like for that, it doesn't really matter how old you are. It doesn't really matter how you look. And so it kind of makes sense. But like for good sex, it doesn't matter that much. And like it can be part of like an part of the project that you kind of wanna teach such like 14-year-old, right? I can understand that, but believe me, if you have to be a religion teacher for at the gymnasium for like a female gymnasium, or like what Vivaldi did, so he that was the project, right? So the female bastards of the churches of the monasteries. So that's how those female institution was kind of founded. That was a place for them, right? So there, Vivaldi. I mean, this is one of the best examples we have by far, right? So what you can do with, and so like, but then it's just annoying, like those 13, 14-year-old. If you have a lot of them, and you have to, it's not like it's hard work to teach them as well, and it's not all like about that. And like if you have to do that, well, it's not like, again, it's something you might want to do 2-3 times, but then it kind of the problem is that many are themselves not developed enough, and that kind of leads to that, and our promotions. So like, what do you expect if this simple version of Nintendo? So like, but that's another thing. If you would listen to, not just listen, if you would imagine the vision that Bach has for this Song of Songs, and it's full of that. So like BWV 49, the word value of the Taube, so that's a pigeon. There it is about this kind of wedding, and it doesn't matter much how the woman looks. It's not about that. It is for that, right? And I mean, that's important as well. If you have a cantata, so cantata is that there is singers involved, right? That is kind of fair. So you don't have to look at the sopran. It's not all about that. But I guess, sadly, for many, it is. So they don't listen; they look, right? So, yeah. What can you do? Yeah, I don't know.
So, if I ask you, a good sex depends on what? Which one is the most important thing to you?
I mean, I don't know. I never had it. So, like, but I thought a lot about it, and I kind of know from my grandparents that this was still like I think anatomically, I mean, even if you have something that you kind of have to, but like anatomically, we would be probably more than 95% would be able to, like, you can see it as a gift from God as well. We would be able to experience all facets of orgasms. And the fact is that the Bischof's Concile allow one position in the dark. That's still in the Catholic Church. That's still another, like, this is a rule. Like, if you don't do that, the only missionary position in the dark, you kind of sin, and you have to confess that, right? Like you would need to confess if you try it with the condom. That's actually the probably even bigger sin, but both of them are kind of terrible. And then they made polling. There were not even 3% of Christians that answered that they would go they would think about confessing if they use the preservative, right? So that's just like how detached the church is from reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but like I there again, it's just like I think it's understandable that you don't wanna have like you don't wanna have it's not natural to have sex with a condom, right? So for the woman especially, like it's like so
Yeah,
that would be a good reason that you learn your cycle, your body, on which days you are not fertile and so on. There is
Mhm.
at least 2 weeks, but it's maybe not guaranteed. But it's
Yeah.
quite like yeah. And so well, then you do this, right? That you kind of build up for 2 weeks, and then according to what I learned from the FFA Masters Discord, that will lead to a peak. Dopamine. So like that's all something you kind of should explore together, I guess, right? And that has
Mhm.
again nothing to do with it has nothing to do with like the age or like that's on yeah or yeah so that has more to do with would also be very healthy this kind of activity, and so it's very tough to motivate yourself um without like access to yeah so and I don't know yeah so like Pilates exercises for the most part they are uh improving the quality for both genders of sex, right? So but
Mhm.
without ever having the perspective to actually that's tricky, right? So, and there I don't know, like there I kind of I still think not just that I believe in a fair afterlife that this will get rewarded in a way. It's still I think for me the better strategy like to do that because
Mhm.
yeah, but I mean um yeah so I can understand that if you, for the first time, have the opportunity with 60, but more often than not, this is because of like money or power that, like the 17-year-old. I mean, I don't think it's impossible to have this kind of love, and maybe it's the better strategy for but I don't think this is so for the most part it's just that they like, it's so there maybe the second part which is more important so for a woman after actually after 25 it should be starts the so you kind of should have children when you're still kind of not adult person in a way, right? And so this
Mhm.
next stage, again, this would like there is no reason that you don't have the best like the better sex with a 45-year-old. Like the problem is often that they like I think they can on average deal better with kind of being out of this market, right? So I
Mhm.
think they kind of can better deal with it because this is again probably how it was from evolution. But it's kind of the same issue we have. So, like, if you are not motivated with 14-year-old as a woman, like you will never look like a 25-year-old. So you would need to compensate, but you could still um, be kind of like fit, right? So like for when it comes to the peak for a marathon, it's exactly the same. Like women are like, so I guess that biological clock is about the same. So the world record in marathon is around 41 years, something like that, goes told once, right? And that's the same for women. So when it comes to so and I don't know, maybe flexibility, but it's not all about no. I don't see that. And then, like if you look at the potential and this unnecessary suffering, it's again. So like we know that's exactly what the Kama Sutra is about, right? So it's just but it was not like if I remember how that was for me, it was not possible. Like there was no moment where you were kind of safe that you would have been able to discuss this, right? And that's probably even worse for most women. So I remember that's one of the examples that I think we should have, but that was more that I didn't mention it proper. So at the end of elementary school, we were so the Firmung. That was another event of the church, and so we had a choir. We performed the religion teacher. So we performed a part of Sister Act. So this is not not a movie I can recommend to watch in full, but you kind of need to know. You kind of need to look at the trailer, I guess, right? So
What is the name?
Sister Act.
Sister Act.
Sister Act, yes. So it's about like
I didn't say.
they try to get people back in the church, and one kind of because of the mafia, she is in danger, and so she gets kind of removed from society and kind of put against her will in the monastery as a nun, right? And then she teaches them how to sing, and so they do. Well, it's maybe it's not even the worst. Maybe it's not even the worst movie to watch. It's just like but like that's what we performed as a was the project. So and there was this situation that we waited, right? She was the religion teacher was conducting this, and so there like Mauro was kind of with Italian. I did.
Sorry, network connection.
Yeah, so I didn't even notice. But like I think we should make a cut.
From that movie name.
Yeah,
Said,
so
then
it's
after that,
just like that should have been part of our book. Like so, we had one with like Italian roots. That was kind of not necessarily older than the rest of us, but like they are often like 2 years ahead at that age. So the one from Spain, Italy are at that age just so you see that in soccer as well. So it's kind of they are often ahead, right? And so he just abused that situation and kind of showed his power. So he grabbed them by the pussy when we were waiting for this religion teacher, right? And you could do nothing, like especially if you are a girl, you kind of and that's what that was exactly the point, right? And I mean this would have been, I guess, there you would need to. So the problem of the religion teacher is that she has not this kind of like it has no consequences because she cannot even hand out proper grades and so on, right? And so it's kind of understandable that you yeah, like I don't say I would have done the same if I could, but it's kind of a situation that kind of makes sense as well, right? So if you wanna, because there were more than just our class. So if you kind of want to be the alpha male, you kind of have to do that. So to get the attention of the girls. So it's like for me that is really something that should have been like that's something they should discuss at the PH. So when you become a elementary school teacher, but like again, like if I just imagine to discuss that with my aunt, impossible. That's something I don't see that happen, right? So yeah, but that would be important. So those situations, for the most part, it's that we don't and like it wouldn't have mattered if you put them in a uniform or behind a veil. The problem is you can do exactly the same, right? So it's not a solution at all. So, like, what would be your solution for that situation?
Yeah. Uh, so uh, I had a uh, question on another topic. I think
No,
I
no.
will.
Now we cannot skip. So we either
Yeah,
finish
I
here,
will ask you later.
or you
Yeah.
like. But this is not like again. This would be the most important because if you snitch on
Mm.
it, right? Because it's like the last so that was kind of after school was over elementary school. Like you cannot snitch on this, right? So like that's a problem, and I don't have an answer, and I kind of still think about it. So what do you recommend for? So that's a real question I have, right?
Mm. Yeah. Exactly on what thing?
Like ever how
Mm.
you would do that if you put your shoes in again all those different roles. So in a girl that kind of uh, well gets grabbed by the pussy, this kind of mafia boss that kind of has to show his dominance, the religion teacher that has no power, and like uh, well I don't know like uh, I don't know. Uh, uh, my shoes, and was not that I dared to do that, but you kind of wanna um, uh, snitch on like so that yeah so that problem because I mean it started there and it gets worse and worse because like um some of the worst crimes happen at that age, right? So after like so 14, 15 years, right?
Yeah.
And so what would you like? I mean, it's just for me that you put like separate women, put them
Mhm.
behind a veil. Is not a solution because then you cannot perform sister act, right? You need in the choir, you need you need the voices, and that's why I think it's not a good idea. So maybe in sports, but there it actually is more an age gap. So I think it's much better to have matches like maybe separate, but like you have to play versus sometimes, maybe not all the time, but like you have to have those matches, right? So like we had in the Goki Liga that you play against the women team. So it's not the same age, but like and the ones that are kind of good enough, it should always be like that. Like in chess, it's an open bracket. So women can participate, right? If they can hang, basically, right?
Uh,
But if you have the solution like it was in the Saint Thomas Choir, and sadly still is, that you just allow boys to sing, right? Then you have exactly the result that a lot of female singers are just not on the same level. And on average, like if you just educate, but I mean, Sister Act in the original is only females, right?
I want to s- um, I, I want to say a core concept is mm, um, actually um, do you first it will be a long discussion again if you do you know Adam and how you say in your terms the
I think in English it's Adam and Eve, right?
Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Say Adam and Hawa
Ah,
two
yeah.
names. So that the main thing you woman has a very important role, but what's the core for women? If you believe in God, if I believe in God, and if the first creation in earth, like the first people, Adam and Eve, for the punishment, then do you know that before that how it is created? First Adam,
I mean,
and
you
then
you will not find a proper answer for this problem. You kind of escape like they are all used to. So like another situation
yeah, yeah.
I discussed. So an answer can be you kind of don't want to do that. The more I understand, I would probably not have been able to do that when I was 30 years because I did not have really time to think that through. But like another situation is like we had an Evelyn, so an Eve, right? And it was that I was like when we had the first like ball, like she was definitely like I was kind of into her just from like but I mean that didn't work, and she was at the age in like someone 4 years older, right? So we had not really a chance during the gymnasium. It's often like that, but she was then like when we had um like so gym classes, right? She was like behind the back of a teacher, like with the chewing gum, right? I think she even practiced this kind of before the mirror, like how it looks, like 14-year-old, like that you kind of I don't know what want to kiss her. So she tried all that. So like this kind of like attention, right? So um, the the problem was that once she kind of was absent, and I was always late. And then I don't know. It was probably even because I was late that. So this is a deceased teacher now as well. Küttel so saw that she. It's not a good idea in gym classes to have a chewing gum, and it's not allowed during classes altogether. But in the gym, it's even dangerous if you like. But anyway, she's of course like provoking that. But then because of kind of my arrival, he looks in her direction. So now you have to understand. I kind of want to be like my real goal is not my kind of real goal is to get like on the like I kind of want her as a girlfriend, right? So that's the most important goal here again. And so I like because she was catched, the teacher wanted to give her a Verweis. So if you have 3 Verweise in like 2-3 years, you would get expelled from the school, even something like that, right? And then I kind of argued that like so like you can of course swallow a chewing gum as well, right? So then no one would have noticed, right? It's maybe not the best idea to swallow it, but like normally you would notice. So like I kind of argued, is it not worse that I'm late? Something like that. I tried. It didn't work. It's just another situation. So like even if God exists, this is just part of the game, and like you have to kind of think that through. Like I think you have to understand all sides, right? And there was just no solution. So again, like those examples, like we had none of them, and there are not enough in the book. Because this is something I guess the author is still not confident to talk about proper. But there, I mean, what could have been real helpful would have been this Tantra-Göttin, right? So, because she kind of dedicated her career in this direction, right?
Yeah, I got it. But you know, I in my thinking, um, uh, every it's a no, we should continue it. Um, as another topic on another day, because that will be helpful. Because if I say something, my opinion part by part, then we will have a long discussion. Because if I start my thinking, if I start if I share my thoughts to you, um, I have the answer, the solution, but in a different way. So it needs time. It needs more time to discuss
I think
about
we
this.
should invest in more time for this topic, but not now, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't think it's that simple. This kind of
yeah.
problem, like for the most part, I expect more of those answers which are not different from like. But that's why you don't trust the padres and so on. It's always like just don't do that, right? But that's not an
Uh,
answer. It doesn't work. Like it's not an answer. Those situations will come up and it will not change. And this is part of the game. And a good teacher would think that through. And I think that it's another example why like it doesn't work for a proper, like, that to develop properly psychologically. It doesn't work to just kind of omit that. It's really important. It's completely lacking in the Bible and the Quran, right?
Like I wanted to share a thing. It's related, but when when we share a problem, if you want to figure out a solution, then we have to start from the when it started actually. And then you said that the game, a part of game, everything is real. But how it's happening, what's actually everything, if you see, the others rule is not very much important, but how I perform the rule for myself, my rule, that actually the whole thing. um, if I say a man and a woman, this is, if I say just one thing today, that is, a woman is created for men. This is not separately. A man is created for men, but a
No,
woman is created for men.
that's not how it is in the original. So it's wrongly translated. So
Maybe,
it's
but this
something
is
like
yeah,
but now we have to continue this in order. So the problem is most of
this is
the
my view.
questions so far, when it comes to physics or like music or so on, there I'm confident I can give you an answer you will not find easily. Like, or I can point you to the answer. But
Yeah,
like,
I need that. I need that.
but
Yeah.
here, this is my, like, this is where I'm kind of lost. Here, even
Mhm.
though I know it is important, there is not such an easy answer. And this example from the Bible, so we have the exact same. In German, the translation is that kind of woman was created of the Rippe, the so created of that's vertebrate, right? Of how that's how Adam and Eve were created. Now, if you
Mm.
just look at the example, so if we give them like Mohammed as well, like if you give them kind of this value that they thought that true, then it's more like a stork has uh, an attachment and they fight for their nests uh, to the death and so on. Right? So that's an example. But that's something that kind of changed. That's different. The way and why not say it started 5,700 years ago, right? So this is what's different. So I think in the original, it's more of the region of the heart. Like
Mm.
we feel like we fight for like uh, different values than storks, right? And so I think it's like with in the original, it's actually another thing that is thought through well. But if you kind of read the Quran and they don't attach that properly, the context, but then no, it's not about that. It's more that humanity is different from like apes and storks in that regard, and that we will get judged differently because this is before it is about those the true so those the tree of life and the wisdom, and so that's and the problem is again, like, I cannot fix this foundation if you are like, you have to understand the Quran is at best improvement, but it is for the most part just a summary of the Bible, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
like, if you want to look at how it is originally, but even
And the way I think it, this is if I honestly say my opinion, how I think on Bible, this is the updated version.
yes, the Quran is like, that's why Mohammed is like an evangelist. It's like just updated, not just, it's important. And I would argue Bach did even more than that. It's not just an update, it's kind of an upscale in a new language, right? But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but like Mohammed
The same thing. The same
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
but this does not answer those problems at all. And even if you go back to the Aramaic original, it will not answer it better. But now we have again this discussion that it is kind of lost in translation, and it's you will not get an answer from the Quran for this issue. I can guarantee that.
We actually need a long discussion, not only by Quran or Bible. Let's do actually, you know enough data. That's why
Yeah.
sometimes I have to think how to say to you, because you know lots of things. And I uh, I will be happy to hear from you morely about it, and I want to add my views, not only the Quran, not only the Bible, the real perspective, how I see in my lifetime, and how did it start and how did it happen, and how it finished, something. So when we when you and I will put a problem, then and find a solution in a discussion, and then we'll understand actually what the weakness, our thoughts, and what the strongest thing, because everything in religion finally it has to solve the problem, right? So uh,
It
uh,
doesn't. It doesn't. Like, but this is a misconception. But like, you look at, but it doesn't hurt to look at if you find something. But
mhm,
here, I know you will not find it, right? So you have to
mhm,
find other means. But yeah,
mhm.
like, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah,
it
definitely
might
we
be it
need.
might be that Mohammed would have had an answer, right? But we can no longer
Mhm,
ask him, right?
mhm.
And this is not
But
it's not the situation they planned for, because like, it's understandable that because like, our teachers were for a big part the monks themselves, and
mhm,
this is kind of something like, you kind of have like, this is kind of the authority. You kind of have to stand up to them, right? And so,
mhm,
like a
mhm,
Catholic music camp, where they kind of dress up with the cross, and like gospel. Of course, that has some sex appeal to it, right? And so,
mhm,
like, you want to play that game, and you shouldn't, um like, that will never work. Like, of course you should be allowed as a 14-year-old to play that game. It's not the same as that you already have sex, but of course you have to play in some fashion. And but the problem is that uh, um, well, I mean, that that's a topic We will
Yeah,
not
yeah.
quickly
Please,
run out of content, and I mean this is a good thing. It's a good thing. So
definitely.
this song of songs, like we don't have the issue that we will run out of content. It's just yeah, and yeah.
And I want a long discussion on it, cause then some of our যেহেতু, we are working together, so when we talk about it, a long discussion, then when I talk about problems and solutions, then we will somehow think in a way, in a better way. So I want that.
I
I
don't know.
want to share. I want to.
Maybe here we actually need to include a woman because I don't know if we will figure out this without.
Yeah, no, no, this is necessary, but not now, I think,
Yeah, I don't know.
because
Maybe you're right. Maybe maybe
we have to first.
maybe we should just
Yeah,
switch the
I
topic.
can say one thing
Yeah,
is,
for now.
I can say one thing is, I have, before marriage I have a lot of affairs. I did something, that time I thought that good, but now I think that was not good, and something I figure out. And after marriage I changed something, when we share some thoughts and problems, and with our personal story, a little story, just to understand, just make for you better to understand, and
Yeah, but like again,
how I
you
think.
then kind of
Yeah.
come from
Then
like.
then when we clear, then a woman can enter, no problem. But we have to clear first.
But
Then we can pray
I don't
how we
have like
want.
the problem is I don't have a woman that will enter. But like I mean,
Yeah, but I can say a lot of things how women thinks, cause my entire life, now till now, I spent a lot of time on women. That was my biggest weakness in my life, and I suffered a lot, and I have not other issues much, and other issues are very simple to me, cause there's I did not mess too much, but in the female, or in you understand that, in women's section, I did mess around too much. That's why I
yes,
suffered a
but
lot.
the
I
problem is
figure out
that
some
you will not be in a position like as a father or kind of figure you look up to. You have it easy. You can just well, I messed around and now but they were like, why should the 14-year-old not mess around as well, right? So you would need to teach them how to mess around.
Mhm. Yeah, but I solved even a lot of issue with my friends, colleagues, and lots of and some I can say to you that some people who listen to me, they get solutions. Some people, I can't I can't solve all the thing, but most of them, what I give advice, most of the people get benefited from it. Who doesn't listen, they will get suffer and remind me. That's how I give a little thing to, I try to solve some problems. That's how I have some ideas, and I want to share